Welcome back, my computer duders. We'll be playing something a little bit different today. Again, Merry Snowballs was kind of a one-off thing on account of Christmas. Witchblood still won't load my save. I'm pretty sure I'm just fucked, and just no more Witchblood, which is a shame. I was loving that game. I've already cranked the settings up to what I can play smoothly, and it's looking great in the headset. This is Sublevel Zero Redux, which is a VR version of a game that is a spiritual successor or remake of Descent, the original Descent games. So basically flying through caves, shooting robots. Yeah. Disable tutorial. I'm a man. I ain't need no instructions to know how to rock! The narrator's like, in fact, he would soon discover that he did need those instructions. My life so needs a narrator. I would pay big bucks for like Morgan Freeman. No one remembers what happened or why, but I'm about to tell you. Okay. Humanity scattered. Oh, it's because we're in a simulation and it's like shutting down or something, isn't it? Okay. Re-event. That's kind of generic. This whole game's kind of generic. Literally, the assets are just flat shaded polygons. This is a gamepad title too. I have no complaints because how would you even control Descent with with motion controls? It's already confusing enough with a gamepad just because you have full freedom of movement. Oh, damn it, I just ripped the nacho fart and it wafted up to my nose. Ugh. I'm reaping the consequences of my anal sins. Hold on. I may have overstepped with the graphics a little bit. No. Okay, that's better. I turned on super sampling a little bit high. Really, a 980 should be able to do this at 2x super sampling. No problem. This is like Star Fox graphics. Oh, it's got the occlusion? How do I fucking turn that off? Okay. It's got to be under comfort. Or, yeah, here we go. Grid off, show cockpit off. Banking off, screen shake normal. VR tunneling. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. This is up and down. That's shoot. How do I roll? How do I roll? No answers were to be had. Perhaps they figure I don't need to know how to roll? Oh, no, there it is. Mapping it to buttons? What the fuck is that? Could you really not think of a better scheme than that? This is feeling pretty good other than that minor niggle. My only complaint is the scale is such that the inside of the ship feels 3D, but everything outside of it's a little bit flat, which is realistic, but you can exaggerate depth a little bit and people won't be able to tell. That's bullshit, and it helps the environment feel 3D. wonder if I can turn off the cockpit. But wait a minute. Hold on. I just turned it off. I can't. I can't choose to turn that off. How weird is that? Oh, weird. And this moves independently of fucking... What does that even change? It doesn't change anything. I can strafe in the air, which is pretty cool. This, you know what this feels like? Aquanox. This feels less like Descent and more like Aquanox. Just because rolling is less emphasized. And Aquanox was also one of those games that had a... strong emphasis on 3D movement. Fuck you! I don't know why we're fighting, but I know that I'm going to win. There's that pixelated shitty lava. Alright, that's not so bad. That could be considerably worse than it is. Does this heal me? What is this? Is it just pretty and sparkly? I'm down with that. I'm not above sparkling. Real men sparkle. But they don't Twilight sparkle. Critically. If your child shows any signs of Twilight sparkling, schedule a euthanasia event at a medical station near you. It's really the most humane way to go. This feels pretty good to move around in 3D like this. I can see how this would make plebs sick, so that it's got all those comfort options. What I would really like to play on Oculus, but it's not on Oculus Home, is the actual Descent sequel. Like, these guys are imitating Descent, but there's an actual legit Descent sequel from the makers of Descent for VR. It's just not on Oculus Home. They told me that this ship would have homing weapons. In fact, that was a devious ruse. Why are they making me fight robots? Robots are bros. Robots are always loyal and do what they're told. Can't pick those up? Okay. Oh, whoops. Okay, that was apparently something bad I did not want to run into. You could have fucking fooled me. They all looked like power-ups. Then again, everything's just flat-shaded polygons. I'm liking this so far, though. I like this style. Oh, the explosions have splash damage, don't they? The controls, I think, are about as good as they are considering the limitations of the pad. I just personally would have mapped roll to the bumpers. In fact, I think I might do that. Because using the bumpers to move up and down is really weird. Off. Okay, let's see. Actions. No, to the gamepad, please. What the fuck? Okay, how do I get out of this? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. You're all right. What the fuck? And I'm stuck in the menu, and there's no clear way to get out of it. There, okay, there we go. This still does that. But now I can freely rotate without snapping. That feels better, at least. Before next time, I will figure out how to set controls properly. Oh, but then I'll have that fucking issue where you remember you've already learned the old controls, so they feel more natural to you. And that's the fucking worst. Anybody in here? Robotomatrons! I come in peace. If you do. If you fucking shoot your pew-pews at me. Combines, don't shoot your lasers! These robots are from science and space. Science made them tricked, bro. Or they could be spaceships piloted by zombie ghosts. Equally possible. Zombie ghosts, leave this place! But this is our house! Quoting internet videos from like 2007 is a good like third of my personality. I have no regrets. Don't let your memes be dreams. Become the meme. Okay, they were dumb enough to crowd around the opening, so it's just smooth enough, and the resolution is great, at least for a Rift headset. I was looking at the price of those Windows Mixed Reality headsets because I want one for the laptop that I just got. But I don't want to carry around sensor cameras with me. In fact, I'm pretty much unwilling to carry around sensors with me if I'm going to use VR portably. So the Windows Mixed Reality headsets, they're cheaper. They're like $300 something. And they have inside-out tracking that works remarkably well. They use little cameras on the outside of the headset to look at the room around you and figure out where you are in that space so that you don't need the external sensors. It's fucking magic, and it works really well, and the only thing that keeps me from taking the plunge on it is, number one, the optical quality is not quite as good as Rift or Vive, which you wouldn't expect it to be for that price. And the other thing is that it would lock me into using Steam VR, because only Oculus products can use the Oculus Store right now without using the Revive hack, which I don't want to have to do. I legit might take the plunge anyway. I might. I guess I'm waiting to see what all is out there and what's going to be offered in the near future, because I don't want to. Then again, I can't buy a significantly higher resolution headset for a laptop, because even though it has the 1060, it's the mobile version of the 1060, which is probably, I haven't benchmarked it, but it's probably not that much better than the 980 GTX 980 in my main gaming PC. But yeah, laptop, Jesus, the price on that you can't think because I'm using up all my brain power on this. Oh, okay. I have to blow this fucking thing up. This is Star Fox. The prices you'll see on gaming laptops that are VR capable are fucking outrageous. I was only able to find one that had the specs I wanted for under $1,000. It was under $1,000 by like $1. What's in here? Oh, okay. I'm okay with that. I'm a simple man. I see a glowy thing and I fly into it. Why do I need that hologram on my HUD to tell me that I'm turning? What's this? I think I could have bought the bundle and gotten the headset for less, but I wasn't sure at the time that I bought it. I guess I could return the laptop and get the bundle, but you save very little money getting them bundled, and I don't really know for sure which of the Windows mixed reality headsets that I want, if I want any of them. This feels really good to fly now that I got the hang of it. In fact, it gives me good nostalgic, warm, fuzzy feelings in my tum-tum. Because, remember, I'm old as shit. I'm 34, so I played the original Descent on the Forte VFX1, which is like the grandfather of the Oculus Rift. It was the first quote-unquote real PC VR headset. It was probably the most feature-rich PC VR headset that came out in the 90s for the consumer market. That was just the best you could do for a price most people wouldn't consider insane. It was something like $700 though, so it was very comparable to the Vive. But remember, that was a lot more money in the 90s. And that's why there's a couple of 90s 3D games that have programs in support for the Forte VFX1, which had surprisingly decent head tracking. It was based on the Earth's magnetic field. It used a compass. As a result, it was it was impressively accurate for the time at tracking your horizontal movement, but it was really shitty. Had a lot of vertical drift because it was using accelerometers and gyros to track that. And they were not great at the time. The grade of accelerometer you could get in a VR headset in the 90s was not great. I mean, there was definitely high-end and low-end shit. There's like the Victor Max, the Stunt Max, which was just like a LCD display with a Fresnel lens in front of it, which wasn't even really VR. Talk about having parents who emptied their wallets only to have a disappointed child. That shit should be illegal. Like the CDI. The CDI should be illegal. I'm sorry, Wrestling with Gaming. I know you have a fetish for the CDI, but it should be illegal. That'd be my first act as World Dictator. Shit. Fuck. These guys are OP as fuck. Holy fuck. Oh, what the fuck are those things? Anyway, the Forte VFX1. It could play Descent if you had a beastly computer, because remember, people's computers struggled to play Descent even normally on a monitor, so rendering two views at the same time was like you had to have deep pockets to play Descent in VR in the 90s. It could play Rise of the Triad, which was more feasible because Rise of the Triad was really just a enhanced Wolfenstein 3D engine, so a 386 could play it decently. It could play Doom. No, wait, it didn't. Doom never had any support, I don't think. Or did it? I don't remember. I think there was a mod for Quake that would play it, or it had. No, wait, Quake had built-in support. Duke Nukem 3D. Every build engine game had built-in Forte VFX1 support. In fact, that was where I first got really interested in VR. I went to a VR camp. Like where all the other kids were going to normal summer camp and you know, getting laid and having their first experiences rolling around in the bushes with somebody from the girl side of camp at like 2 a.m. and touching their first boobie. I was instead in a computer lab at OMSI, the local science museum, with goggles strapped to my face that weighed like 40 pounds. I wouldn't have traded that for the world though. Anyway, they were running the Forte VFX1 and a couple of Scubas, S-Q-U-B-A, which was another shit imitator. Forte was about the best you could do at the time. It had, honestly, it wasn't some shit like Scuba that had one display and then a Fresnel lens. It actually had two displays, one for each eye. They were real LCD. Their color, unlike the Virtual Boy, and had head tracking. It had the whole 9 yards. It just wasn't. It was as good as it could be in the 90s, let's put it that way. So that meant less than QVGA, not even quite 320 by 240 resolution, Wrap your head around that. It had, I think, 45-degree field of view. I think the very best they could do at the time was virtuality arcade cabinets, which could do 60 degrees, which still wasn't awesome. Hexen. So wait, hold on. Hexen had support, so the Doom engine must have had support. But those weren't even really 3D games. They were just games that were 2.5D, but because of how the engine rendered it, you could assign depth to the game engine already assigned depth to the various vertical pixel columns. So rendering it in VR to have stereoscopic depth perception was not terribly difficult. You just assign a horizontal displacement value for each of the screens respectively to the vertical columns depending on their distance from the player. But you couldn't really look up or down, remember, in most of those games. In Build you could, but they've just rendered more of the screen vertically and then panned up and down, which made it distort. But you could at least move your head all around, which felt less constraining than like Doom Engine, where all you could do was this. But really, that was kind of a feature, not a bug, because like I said, it did a much better job of tracking horizontal movement than vertical movement. So making it so to support a game where you couldn't turn your head vertically was probably merciful. It was probably a good choice. Like Rise of the Triad. Rise of the Triad did the same thing that Duke Nukem 3D did. It just rendered a long vertical strip of the screen despite the distortion, and then panned your view up and down it as you looked up and down to give you the feeling of looking up and down. This is cool. This is like playing an NES game in VR. Which of course is what we all fantasized about. We couldn't picture what actual futuristic games would look like, so we just imagined like a 3D version of Zelda 1 or like Super Mario Bros. With like giant chunky 3D pixels, which people have actually made. There are versions of NES games that are independent executables. They're not on the marketplace, obviously. You can go play the original NES Zelda, a total recreation of it in VR right now. I don't know if it's been upgraded to support the 1.3, I think, runtime and later that you need for CV1, but I know there was a DK2 demo of it. And that's just kind of fun, like just for the sake of wish fulfillment. Of all the stuff you said you'd be able to do by now when you were a kid, even if it doesn't make sense anymore. Like, I want to play GameCube games like Metroid Prime in VR. Well, guess what? You can. You can. Technology keeps improving in a way where you only gain stuff. You don't lose it. There's nothing that we've lost technologically. We can still recreate everything we've done before. So we don't have to move on anymore. We don't have to move on from old stuff to new stuff. We can recreate the old stuff in the new format. That's really cool, if you ask me. Nobody did ask me, but you're going to get my fucking opinion because you're watching my channel. Also, if you don't watch my channel, if you're just within earshot of me, you'll get my opinion. That's one of the great things about me. Such as, I can weigh down something so it doesn't blow away with about 200 pounds. I'm over 6 feet, so don't imagine that I'm some kind of blob. I'm not fat. I want to be. Like, if I didn't you know, if I wasn't dating anybody, I would probably get really disgustingly fat just because I could afford to. Like, that's what it used to be. Hundreds of years ago, being fat used to be a status symbol. Like, look how out of shape I can afford to be because I never have to lift a finger to support myself. Like, people would assume that you were fucking rich, and often you were if you could afford to just... Because you could afford enough food, and that was not always the case. For much of human history, most people could not afford enough food to eat. I would be like those fatties in Judge Dredd, where they've got like that little loin-girdling mobility scooter thing, where it's like built into their bodies. to scoot them along. Or I'd get like a Wally hover scooter with jet engines. And then scoot to various fast food restaurants, demanding that they prepare for me their most delicious morsels. I decide what's right for my life largely on the basis of whatever's funniest. Probably not the best basis for major life decisions, but it's at least made things entertaining. Those do nothing? Okay, those do nothing. It's taken me a long time to learn that my image of myself as a purely rational being was completely ego-driven, and that in fact I am very emotional. Like, I've made so many poor choices on the basis of emotion already. Like, buying my cat. She was she was a homeless cat. I bought her from some homeless people, from a couple, which was probably irresponsible. I don't know where they got her from. I'm going to assume that their cat gave birth, which is what appeared to be the case. And they didn't just go jack a kitten from somewhere. But I couldn't not do it, even though it got me evicted from the student housing I was living in at the time. I had to, and I couldn't fathom not doing it. She was just the most beautiful, adorable little kitten I'd ever seen. I was like, I'm going to die if I don't get this kitten. That's not something a purely rational person does. I think that perception of myself is just how I wanted to be. For misguided reasons, too, because I thought that being unemotional was a strength. Like I knew better than fucking millions of years of evolution. Adolescence, man, it's a hell of a drug. What the fuck was that thing? Oh shit! Oh fuck! I've got no missiles either. Oh, but it gave me a lot of loot. Okay, I'm not angry. I pooped my pants a little bit. It's just like a chicken nugget sized piece. It's solid though. It's okay, I can leave it in there. It's pretty dry. It's not gonna stain anything. Oh fuck! I have to take care of the ones they're spamming all the shots. No, 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 no. Oh, health power-ups. Oh, fuck, some kind of railgun. Oh! And crush my testicles in one blow. I have time for a little bit more. That's so funny, like how as you get older, you're able to distinguish how you actually are from how you perceive yourself. And like, at least I lacked awareness that the way I saw myself was really who I wanted to be, not who I actually was. And then I reached a point where I started questioning why I wanted to be that person, and if I really knew best what sort of person I ought to be at that age. Teenagers do not have a very good idea of who they want to be. Like, a teenage boy generally wants to be Master Chief. They want to be extremely effective at killing, but if you ask them why, they can't really tell you. And there's not any immediate threat to their family or other loved ones that they need to defend themselves against. They just have power fantasies. They want to be powerful because as a young man who still can't do many things in life, they don't feel empowered. And their idea of power is the ability to kill. That's what impresses young primates. It's really a legacy of our close relation to chimps. If we were related to bonobos, I think it would be very different. I think we would grow up wanting to be... instead of valuing the ability to kill, we would aspire to the ability to please the opposite sex, or sometimes the same sex, effectively. Which I guess we often do, but more often it's... like, if you go on the cringe subreddits, there's always teenagers in, like, black trench coats with a black hat with a fucking Walmart katana. They want to be a badass. They want to be a fearsome killer for some reason. I guess whatever they fear, they want to embody. Reasoning that others will also fear them and confusing fear with respect. Boy, I'm going to be a fucking boring dad. I think I'm going to be a good dad, but I'll be a boring one because I'll be emphasizing cooperation and being a good citizen over humoring power fantasies. I think a lot of that's also our media glorifying violence so that the military won't run out of recruits. So there will always be young men who don't really understand the realities of what's going to happen to them in the military signing up because they liked playing Call of Duty and they liked playing Counter-Strike and they want to do that for real. But now there's VR, so hopefully there'll be less of that because you can just throw a headset on your face and get the immediate experience of digital murder without any of the potential drawbacks. Oh, you want some fucking too, do you? How does that please your robot asshole? Do robots have assholes? I know that some of them can digest organic matter. I'm not making that up. There's like research robots that they want to deploy to the jungle to do like wildlife observation, but they can't run on solar power because there's a jungle canopy overhead blocking sunlight. So they have to be able to catch flies by using chemical scents to lure the flies into a trap and then digest them the same way a pitcher plant does. To run a biomicrobial fuel cell that will generate the current needed to recharge their batteries over time. So they still have batteries because that's like a buffer. It's like how Curiosity has a nuclear radioisotope thermal generator, but it also has batteries because the RTG does not provide enough wattage to drive the vehicle by itself. It just constantly outputs energy to replenish what's lost at an average rate that's sufficient for the kind of things that the rover does. Fuel cell cars are like that too. The fuel cell does not put out exactly the right voltage or current or anything for the car. So it needs a battery for that because the battery is variable. You can draw as much or as little as you want from it. The fuel cell just constantly recharges the battery. People are like, oh, fuel cell cars are much better than battery electric cars. I'm like, how can you not realize that they're the same? Well, they're not the same thing, but fuel cell cars have batteries in them. So any downsides you think batteries have also apply to fuel cell cars. And then they also have this big expensive fucking chemical energy conversion device that needs a fuel you can't hardly get anywhere, that with a tank that leaks like crazy, and a fuel cell that's structurally very similar to a battery except for the addition of a proton exchange membrane and extremely pricey catalyst metals that will actually wears out and dies faster than the battery. I've had many fun arguments with people who have been sold on the concept that fuel cells are going to take off, and those people are just going to have to be the Betamax owners of this generation who don't see the writing on the wall and don't have the engineering knowledge to realize that electric is going to win because it's simpler. It's simpler and has fewer drawbacks. I mean, for fuck's sake, if they can build a roadster, Tesla Roadster with a 600-mile range, I think the 500-mile range of fuel cell cars becomes less impressive, and it shows the range of battery electric cars is not a technology issue. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to build an electric car with 600 miles range. It's a cost issue. Car makers do not put as many batteries in electric cars as will physically fit. When you do, you get ranges like the 600-mile Tesla Roadster 2018. They put as much battery in there as they think people will pay for, while still giving them a nominally useful range. Like if you ever look at a cross-section of an electric car on Google image search, the battery is kind of tiny compared to the car. Because lithium is fucking expensive. Not as expensive as a fuel cell, but it's pricey. If they actually filled the car everywhere they could fit batteries and still have like room for your feet and shit, then electric cars would have insane ranges, because even though lithium batteries are not, they don't have the same energy density as gas by a long shot, that gap is narrowed substantially by the huge efficiency advantage of electric motors. They're like 6 times more efficient than the average gas motor. Average, like a lot of gas apologists will bring up the most efficient diesel engines, which reach efficiencies of like 25% or as high as 30% in lab conditions, and they'll try to use that to be representative of all cars on the road, whereas most cars on the road are like 15% efficient. But anyway, if you can use less energy to go further, then the fact that batteries don't hold as much energy on paper stops mattering as much. That's how you can have batteries that are only a fraction of the energy density of fuel, and you can still achieve, and in fact exceed, the range of gas automobiles with electricity, with batteries. The only place where that comparison does not hold true is in very cold climates, because in very cold climates you're using the heat from the engine that's normally waste heat, and you're using it to warm up the interior, so it's not lost. That's not really waste at that point. In that usage case, you can actually defend internal combustion vehicles, because the efficiency jumps much higher if you're using that heat for something. Normally it just gets thrown away. Yeah, if you live in Alaska or something, you're fine. You're fine driving like a diesel truck, because the heat gets used. There's still other inefficiencies, like the vibration, the noise, any sign of energy that's not going into the forward motion of the car, whether it's sound or heat or any other sort of kinetic effect. That's energy being lost. That's energy going that's coming from the gasoline, but it's not going towards moving the car. This is just something I think about a lot, so pardon me if it's not entertaining. I'm really not sorry, though. This is shit you would pay big bucks to learn in the university. You're welcome. I'm gonna get my ass fucked again, aren't I? At least fucking rub some Crisco between my thighs this time. Oh, fuck the... Can I get the railgun for myself? Can I get that dope-ass weapon for this fucking space jalopy I'm in right now? Thank goodness their laser technology is so slow. They've got like Atari lasers. Oh, no you don't. I saw you. This is pretty fun. I'm liking this. It's got like chiptune music. What's this? There's nothing here. What's this about? Oh, this is a map. I can teleport to anywhere else in the level, I bet, too. Oh, it is a portal. I can fucking teleport. But I don't know if I want to yet. I think there's something I haven't gotten. Yes, there is. Loot, loot. Even in space, everything drops loot. I like the optimism of these old games where not only are there humans in space, but we have so much space infrastructure that you can fly for miles and still be inside of a space station. And we can afford to fucking blow it up in wars. Like, that's the most retarded aspect of Star Wars. They blow up massive spaceships and space habitats every day. And that shit is precious. That's how human beings and other aliens sustain their life off of the surface of planets. Like, can you imagine if we had a war in space and somebody blew up the ISS? What a fucking loss that would be. We're not even willing to have nuclear war because it would destroy large parts of the Earth. Why would we just do anything to endanger trillion-dollar space habitats? Like, we would figure out some other way to resolve our disputes. Nobody would want to destroy that if they could, for example, take ownership of it because of the value that it represents. It's like that saying, some men don't realize that peace is an option until a mosquito lands on their balls. Those are heavy hitters. Those are the ones who are... Those and the drill fuckers were fucking me up before. And the ones that do the scatter shots. Those three are the biggest danger to me so far. Okay, fuck you. I really don't need that bad energy in my life right now. Did I get everything? Okay, I got missiles again, good. I'm gonna fucking need them. And I can't use them. Oh, whoa, I can switch through weapons. Okay, now we're talking. I've been using the pea shooter this entire time. And still doing alright. How do you like them apples? Do you in fact enjoy the flavor of those round red fruits? Because, in fact, they're my balls. The oldest ruse in the Ruse Master's Big Book of Ruses. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Nuh-uh, 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 nuh-uh. Okay, give me that loot. Am I doing alright? No, my screen's still red. Okay, I think that's the best I'm going to do for a little while. Energy's up, missiles are low. Whatever, this is the end of the level anyways. I don't even remember the plot of this game. I slept through that. I got into the advanced point in my YouTube foo that I'm able to do Let's Plays while asleep. Anyways, I think that's enough for this time. I'm liking this, so I'll play more of it. It's a shame about Witchblood. Really, what can you do? I think I'm going to email the developers and see if I can get them to fix it for me. There's no mechanism in the game to do bug reporting. I don't know if it automatically reports issues when it crashes or not. But for now, Spaceship Pew Pew is the order of the day. I hope you like that because that's what you're going to get more of.